Is Clemson finally leaving the ACC? Okay, there's more reports coming out. It's starting to show up on different sites like On3, Sports Illustrated, Rubbing the Rock, Clemson Wire. Are they leaving the ACC? I'm going to get into that in just a moment. Before I do, hey, I'm Brian. I'm not Bobby Durkins, at least, well, not here. If you don't know who Bobby Durkins is, just look him up on YouTube. Thanks for joining me. If you're new to the channel, hope you'll subscribe. It's free. Just click of a button, boom, there it is. Doesn't cost you a dime. Also, if you're someone who watches me all the time and you're like, I've never subscribed, that's a great way to support the channel. Also, you can support on a monthly basis with either a $3 or $5 per month tier. You're like, well, what's the difference? $3 or $5. You won't even notice that. I do appreciate your support. Also, super chats here in the comments section. Now, this information started coming out, I want to say sometime yesterday. And then it started to kick up more and more and more. Now, what is the source of this story? So there's supposedly a guy, and in fact, I am going to take this this link, and I'm going to drop it in the comments section so everybody can read it for yourself. Now, this is from On3. This is in the chat section. I'm also going to go to Rubbing the Rock. I'm not affiliated with either one of these outlets. And you can read this once again for yourself. I will warn you that at this point, this is just hearsay. But we've been hearing this. It died down. And now it's back. And in fact, I did a video on this a couple of months where I said, and I know I was reaching, I was not trying to catch anybody off guard. I wasn't trying to lie to anyone. I just truly believed, and I still do believe, Clemson will go to the Big Ten. Maybe the SEC, but I really believe they're going to end up in the Big Ten. What's your source? What do you believe that? The Big Ten's making big plays. And the only place they don't have a team is in the South. I'm talking about southeastern area. And Clemson fits that bill. Florida State fits that bill. But I'm going to get to the article. I'm going to read this from Rubbing the Rock. And there's a guy at the Charleston Post and Courier. And he wrote that Clemson's ACC departure may be sooner, as basically the Gamecocks are nervous that if Clemson left the ACC, that they might come to the SEC. And the South Carolina administration does not want that. You would think that would be just good, clean fun. Clemson and South Carolina in the SEC. That South Carolina's always going, you don't play in the SEC. Boy, you get your butt whipped like we do all the time if you came to the SEC. So Clemson's like, hey, you know, we could possibly go to the SEC. Huh? No. This has not been vetted, folks. Completely and totally. Let me rephrase that. This is not in stone. But it keeps coming up. It keeps coming up. And Florida State is unhappy. The University of North Carolina is unhappy. More and more has come out about how they're not too thrilled about everything. Florida State was the one who was kind of the forerunner here. They were the one who was going, we're not too thrilled about all of this stuff. If we tell the truth, not too thrilled about it. We're not too happy. We're not too happy about the whole TV deal. Not at all. So right now, this is a rumor that keeps coming back up. So let's just go back over this article. This guy from the Charleston Post and Courier. His name is Gene Sapikoff, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Said that South Carolina, someone in the South Carolina administration, University of South Carolina administration, is unhappy that the chance that Clemson could come into the SEC is actually a possibility. What does that mean? They can leave the ACC. The ACC grant of rights that everybody talks about does not expire until 2036. So Clemson would have to lose money. Now, the grant of rights is not all the money that a team makes. That is something that you need to understand. You also need to understand that the reason that the ACC moved to bring in Cal, Stanford, and SMU, the reason that they did that is just in case. Go back and read that article when the news came out. Go Google, look around at the few articles, and you'll see that ESPN can renegotiate the contract if the ACC falls below a certain amount of teams. So adding those 3 teams gives the ACC insulation against this. They can't be forced to a renegotiation with ESPN. Why would they go out and get SMU, who, by the way, has given up their TV rights for, 7 or 8 years? Why would the ACC want Stanford and Cal? Why would they? It was low-hanging fruit. It had to go somewhere. The pack has fell apart, oddly enough, and sickeningly hilarious. The pack 12 is actually doing quite good in football this year. Like hell has totally froze. They're holding ice capades down there. Why would they do that? A lot of things are adding up, folks. And the rumor is that the SEC has offered to build, take a third of the whole grant of rights funds, if I'm understanding this correctly. And that the Big Ten might go as far as half. So let's stop here. I have 35 people in here watching right now. I appreciate you watching. This is a live stream. Someone, if you're watching this a little later and you're like, I don't know, it's a live stream right now. Thank you for joining me. For some reason, my description in my video is really, really driving me crazy. Something's not working right. It's just absolutely making me want to scream. But the sponsor of my show is 4puttcarts.com. They are a beverage and snack cart service for golf courses and special events. The link's supposed to be below the video. And something weird has been going on, and I've just got to fix that. But anyway, they are sponsoring the show. I appreciate the sponsorship. I appreciate you believing in the show. 4puttcarts.com. They offer beverage and snack cart service for golf courses. Even if you have your own cart service, let's just say you have a tournament, you're going to need help. Up your game and getting them. And if you don't have a cart service, somebody's out there, they're playing golf, they get on number 4, they're like, man, I wish I had a drink right now. Well, maybe we get to the clubhouse up here. What? I want to rush the next, 5 holes just so I can get a drink? No. Get something to eat? No. You need to get in touch with 4puttcarts.com. Even if you're having an event, it's not even a golf course, you need to reach out to them. 4puttcarts.com. I'm going to put the link there as soon as I get this all worked out. But now I'm live and there's nothing I can do. So let's talk about Clemson and the reaction. Once again, I'm going to go through some of these comments and then I'll get it back into this. All right. Parker Henderson, who is a member of the Not Bobby Durkin's channel. Thank you, my friend. Renee Arlen. Is that where is Clemson going if they leave the ACC? I think so. My old friend Slim Shady Canes says, not happening. Neither Clemson nor FSU fit the AAU as a requirement to join the Big Ten. That is something. If they can get out of grant of rights, my friend, they'll have like a probationary period, whatever it's called, and they'll waive that. If they're willing to work out a deal with a ton of money, that requirement, that's just business. Could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Are these rumors or probability? Rumors with a lot of probability. Talking trash. Yes, please subscribe to the channel. It's free. Christopher Bear. FSU is likely to be AAU within 5 years. They expected it this year. Sassy, the Sasquatch. Ryan, I forgot to reply to you the other day. If Clemson leaves the ACC, do we get a name change? Ryan has wanted me to change the name of the channel. Thank you for supporting the channel at $2. I do appreciate your super thanks. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Thank you for supporting the channel. Hey, I've been thinking about it, man. Name change. Talking about changing the name of the channel. Let me see. Texas and OU, UCLA. You're right. We didn't hear anything about it. You're right. All Coast Conference, Midlands directory. We got Viva Hernando, American Coast Conference. That's right. All right, folks, I'm going to get back in here. I'm going to turn off the comment section so I can pay attention here. Here's what I look at. And I'm not just going to sit here and ramble about this. Let's go back over the facts. Florida State made it very clear that they're unhappy. Clemson and North Carolina soon followed. Clemson's first, from what I understand, then North Carolina. It doesn't matter. Those are the 3 names. The first 2 names of Florida State and Clemson, then you have North Carolina. So I'm going to bullet point this sucker. They didn't want Stanford and all of them to come in. We don't want this. All right. The Big Ten's making all these big moves. And Slim Shady Canes is right. You heard little to nothing. I'll go ahead and say nothing about the move with Texas and Oklahoma until it was basically done. Southern Cal and UCLA until it was done. I get it. But I wonder, my friend, Florida State, Clemson, maybe even North Carolina is allowing this to happen to try to figure out a way to get out of that grant of rights. They're unhappy. The Big Ten needs at least one team in the South for them to complete this big, massive move they've made. They added Southern Cal. They added, now I'm skipping some teams. I know them. Oregon, Washington. I'll go ahead and name out UCLA since I went through all of that. From sea to shining sea, they have someone in some capacity. Southern California all the way up to New Jersey down to Maryland. Where do they not have a team? Clemson, South Carolina. Tallahassee, Florida. The South. This makes way too much sense, folks. And that South Carolina, and I'd heard about this. I'd heard that South Carolina didn't want Clemson in the SEC. That it was them, the ones who likes to pop their chest and say, hey, we play in the big SEC. Y'all play in the itty-bitty ACC. If you played big boy football, you'd never be undefeated. You never have won 2 championships. You'd far from made it to the playoffs. And therefore, all those good players that came to your school would have never showed up. The idea that Clemson could make it to the SEC makes them want to crap their drawers more than ever. So the Big Ten. Back in early to mid-August when this news broke, I made a video. And I admit once again, as I said earlier, I reached. I went ahead and broke it that it was basically a done deal. And I was not trying to deceive anyone. But I didn't take down that video. And I'm going to tell you why I didn't take down that video. There's other videos I have taken down in the past. Because after I got off the video, I said what I said about a coach or a player. I walked away and I said, you know what? What I said about that person was right. How I said it was wrong. And I took down the video. But I kept this video up, and let me tell you why. It makes way too much sense. And let's go over some qualifications of why it makes sense. Going back to these schools, they're unhappy. Going to the Big Ten or addressing the Big Ten, they need a team or teams in the South to complete the overall sweeping move that they've made. Kudos to the Big Ten, whether Clemson and Florida State joins or not. These guys have done. You want to talk about creating a super conference? The Big Ten actually took it upon their shoulders and said, hey, we're going for it. We are going for it, my friend. So that makes sense. Let's talk about the rebuttals of why this would never, ever happen. I'm going to make this fast. Clemson is not a Big Ten team. Neither is Southern California. Neither is Oregon. So if you're wanting to talk about these moves from the view of a traditionalist, I'm a traditionalist when it comes to college football. I'm sorry, traditions are dead, my friend. You might have your fight song. You might have your jersey. You might have the old jerseys, retired players hanging up all around. Tradition is over, my friend, when it comes to the college landscape and the respect to the geographical location of a college football team. It's done. That's been buried now for at least a year, if not longer. So there's that. Next, well, the grant of rights. Folks, whoever came up with the grant of rights had a ton of really good lawyers on their hands. They had really good lawyers. The people who were trying to figure out how to get out of this have really good lawyers. What it comes down to is money. If one of these conferences is willing to either foot the bill or alleviate some of the financial strain on one of these institutes, it's a done deal. Because even though TV money is a lot of money, it's not the only money these teams are making. And these conferences, along with these teams, are looking at long-term. Remember, really good investors, like the Warren Buffetts of the world, will tell you forget short-term. Long-term, long-term, long-term. The guys who are trying to come in and make $1 billion in 2 years, they advise against that. You and I, we live, most of us, with a short-term financial plan, whether we think we do or not. These guys, they're looking at big, tons of money. So there's that. Next up, requirements. Like Slim Shady Kane's brought up. I understand. And I'm not singling you out, but you did bring it up, and I know you don't mind if I bring it up. But the truth is, at the end of the day, the truth is, the academics will always take a back seat to big money. Because in the long run, these academic institutes will make a lot of money from this type of deal. And guess what happens? The academics will, whether they like it or not, will actually benefit from it. Their academic departments, their budgets, they will, in some way, in some form, while they're mad that it had to be the big football team and the big move by some conference over stupid football, when I'll have you know we're a house of learned doctors. Yeah, good, pal. But the money is going to win, my friend. And this is a ton of money. This is reshaping the landscape of college football, and the South is the final piece. The South has been landlocked by the SEC, and you go, well, what about the ACC? Well, up until recently, Florida State has been terrible, and the only good team in the ACC has been Clemson. Now Florida State's coming back. Clemson, God help us, don't even get me started. But my point in all of this is that this is the final piece. All of this makes way too much sense. Could I be wrong? Yes. But I left up the other video and I created this one. I'm going to go to the comments and then I'm going to close this down. Viva Hernando, thank you for supporting the channel. I say this is fake news because all the articles I've seen about Clemson leaving don't say how exactly they get out without massive gore grant of rights payout. My friend, it could that could be it. But I have read in passing that the Big Ten might foot 50% of the bill, and the SEC might foot, I don't know, 30% of it. If their accountants and their visionaries see this worth it, grant of rights will go out the window. And when I say out the window, that will not be the reason that keeps Clemson from moving. Let me clearly state that. They may lose money when it comes to this, but being part of the super conference that the Big Ten is, maybe they earn more money in other ways. And they see it worth it in the long run. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate your comments. I want to go back up here because I didn't call him out. And me and Slim Shady Canes, that's not like that whatsoever. That says to me, this is a desperate attempt to pressure the ACC and ESPN. Possibly so. I can't disagree with that, Slim Shady Canes. Football is the most important major. Yep. Big Red ask, is Clemson joining the SEC? I believe that if they leave the conference, they're not going to the SEC. I believe wholeheartedly they're going to go to the Big Ten and be part of the the first real super conference that is sprawling across the country. If I'm Clemson's administration, I can work out this grant of rights. They have to do what they have to do, but wholeheartedly, I should stop saying wholeheartedly. That's stupid. I really believe that they'll go to the Big Ten. Matthew, thank you for your kindness. George is already irritated. George, it's good to see you, buddy. Hey, you got your win over the Volunteers. Slim Shady Canes, Slim Shady, you did not have to donate to the channel. I do appreciate you doing that. Slim Shady Canes, listen to me. That's the thing about me and Slim Shady Canes. He and I can disagree 100%. But we still are civil and we still are supportive. Thank you so you didn't have to do that, man. I appreciate it. One thing, all the thing that teams that have moved have in common in no or ending TV contract. This is a big nothing burger. Okay. We will see. Now, if Miami were to get in on these talks, and I know what Radakovich said, but you let those donors down in Miami see Clemson and Florida State and possibly North Carolina. Let's just focus on Clemson and Florida State. Start to get all fired up. If Miami gets in on the talks, because they're like, hey, we're going to use this information that Clemson and Florida State found out, then they try to get out of it. They try to go somewhere else. We'll see. But thanks for supporting the channel. Right. Is it possible for Clemson to even make the ACC championship? At this point, a lot of teams would have to start playing bad, and Clemson win out. But different subject. All right, folks. Jonathan Benton said that David Hood said it's a nothing burger, which sucks. Okay. I just I guess the only thing that I would say to that is I just tend to disagree with him. You know, I know that those who are in the Tiger network, in fact, what's so funny is I've had all I'll say is I had someone reach out to me directly and tell me that I was wrong a couple of months ago, and this is coming back up. And just between you and I, if I'm wrong, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. If I'm wrong, won't be the first time, but I've been right about a lot with Clemson football, especially, and to my detriment. I wished I was wrong. I wished I was wrong about this past Saturday. I said Clemson would lose this past Saturday. They played a lot better game than what I thought they would, and I was pulling for Clemson to win the ball game. I hated to see them lose, but I called it last week that Clemson would lose the game. Why? I gave the reason why last week. So am I wrong? Yeah, I'm wrong. And when you do what I do, you do what, like guys, Pigskin Pete, Mark Rogers, we get stuff wrong all the time. We also get a lot right. I get a lot right. And a lot of times it's stuff that I really don't want to be right on. I'd rather be wrong. I'd rather have Clemson. I'd rather have to come on here and say, hey, I was wrong. Clemson wins. Nope, I was right. They lost. And I believe big old nothing burger, maybe it's not, but I believe Clemson's going to leave. It might not. It maybe it's not by the end of this month or next month, but I think very soon something's going to work out. People keeps going on this track of trying to figure out ways and negotiation and working and blah 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 blah. Something's going to come out of it, my friends. Something's going to come out of it. I believe Clemson will go to the Big Ten. Could be wrong. Won't be the first time. Folks, thanks for joining the show. Special thanks to 4Putt Cart Service. 4Putt Cart Service. 4putts.com. The link's supposed to be below the video, but I've had some technical difficulty. They are a cart and beverage service for special events and golf courses. Go check them out. I'm going to try to re-upload that link. And so, also, if you want to support the channel on a monthly basis, $3 or $5, you go for it. I'm not going to stop you. There's a join button. Unless you're on an iPhone, you won't see it. Also, subscribe. That's the easiest and free way support the channel. Hey, Michael Fornbacher just got in here. Michael, you're always out there in Las Vegas dropping. He comes in here and just drop it like this, $10. Thank you for supporting the channel. Coach Bobby Durkins, how's Clemson leaving the ACC when they aren't playing well in the ACC? Good point, my friend. Hey, at this point, we'll just take it. But Michael, thank you for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. Coach Bobby Durkins would like to go down there and change a few things. And if Clemson loses to Syracuse this week, which I did a preview video, folks, I believe they're going to win the game. But if for some reason they were to lose it, heads will roll in Clemson. You can go ahead and take that to the bank. So anyone, my friend Michael, thank you so much for supporting the channel. You do a great job, and everybody, thank you who supported or joined the channel. And it really does mean a lot to me. Thank you, Michael. You've always been a big supporter of the channel. All right, folks, you take care of yourself. I'm going to go have a good evening. In fact, my evening is just getting started. I have a bunch of stuff to do tonight. And in fact, I'm probably about to run late. My wife's going to be like, you did a video? Yes, I did a video. Knowing we had to leave this. Yeah, remember last week I did a video and the doorbell rang because I had people coming over and I did a quick video just to talk about something. So anyway, that's how I operate. Thank you so much. Will they leave? I believe they will, but it's just a rumor right now. But as the rumor continues to go on and 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 go on, probability is I think it's going to get higher and higher. So thank you so much. I'll catch you next time. As always, go Tigers.